Okay, welcome to episode 147 of the Epic Film Challenge, and it is the third in the Superman Marathon series. It is Superman 3. Now this Superman film, is basically about, almost about computers, and it was filmed in the early 80s when computers were kind of becoming just on the brink of kind of society and stuff. It wasn't anything that was available to people, readily. It was, it would be the 90s before everyday people could get computers, but computers were really starting to become big in the 80s, especially for companies and stuff. And this just plays off that. And basically, the film opens, and it's a lot campier than the first two films, because the film just kind of opens on this well, not a tracking shot, but it's basically like a scene that goes through the city of Metropolis, and you just see like people falling over and like telephone boxes falling down and people falling into holes, blind people stumbling. It's just really like slapstick and weird. And then you see Richard Pryor, who it just seems like he was in this film because he must have been like popular at the time, if you know what I mean. Like I'm trying to think of an example now, like I don't know, say sticking Ricky Gervais in the new Spider-Man film or something like that, just kind of like pigeonholing in the man of the moment. But I did enjoy Richard Pryor. He was really good in the role, and he wasn't like overly trying to be funny, I think. But he's like a guy who is unemployed, and he's been unemployed for so long they're not paying him any money anymore. So he goes to this computer course, and he suddenly is a genius at the computers, and basically he finds out that there's like a half cent of every paycheck that isn't being rounded up, and it's just out there in computer land. So he sends it all to his account, and he gets like 80 grand or something. So the big boss finds out and brings him up and says, "Hey, you're good with computers. You can help me swindle some money out of, the big boss of the corporation is after money and all this kind of thing." So Richard Pryor's kind of helping him, but like at the same time not being a full kind of bad guy, just kind of following his orders and stuff. Superman in this film, he actually goes, I didn't even mention this in my last review, how the whole thing with Superman and Lois Lane, where she actually finds out that Clark Kent is Superman, and I doubt I'm spoiling this for anyone, but there you go. And then at the end of the film, he kind of makes her forget that, because he knows that it can't work with her. And then in the third film, he goes back to Smallville for his high school reunion, and he meets his kind of childhood sweetheart we saw in the first film briefly, Lana Lang, I think it is. So he's trying to kind of get it on with her basically throughout most of Superman 3. And most of Superman 3, Superman is actually just Clark Kent, just with Lana Lang basically. So he's there at Smallville, and Richard Pryor happens to come to Smallville. And yeah, basically it comes down to a point where Superman is obviously involved. And I can't remember the exact details now that I think of it. But the Superman is obviously kind of just stops all the bad things going on in the world. So this big boss of the corporation, who's got Richard Pryor as his lackey, he wants to stop Superman. So he tries to find out what will stop Superman, which is obviously kryptonite. So he gets his kryptonite, or he finds out the formula for kryptonite, and Richard Pryor is trying to work it out, and Richard Pryor can't get the exact kind of measurements of kryptonite. So he just adds in this like random like element, and they make up a mark of the kryptonite, and Richard Pryor gives it to Superman, but it's not true kryptonite. But because it's still mostly kryptonite, it turns him into like the bad Superman. And it was really weird because Superman's with Lana Lang, and she's like, "Oh yeah, it's great to see you, Superman." And so, "Oh, you gotta help! You gotta help! There's someone on the bridge who's about to die." And Superman's like, "Oh, that's okay. So anyway, how are you?" And she's like, "But there's someone who's gonna die." And he's like, "Oh, that's okay. I usually get there in time." And he's like, "So and then she's like, "But the people on the bridge." And he's like, "What?" "Oh yeah." And he flies off, and this car's fallen off a bridge. And he's like, "How can I help?" And they're like, "Well, you could have helped a minute ago." And he's like, "Oh." And then he flies off to the Leaning Tower of Pisa, and he straightens it. And then he flies off again, and for some reason that was how he turned into the bad Superman. It was really, really random. Like, cool idea, but it was just. And then the next scene, he's got like a 5 o'clock shadow, and he's like drinking, and he's like starting fights and stuff. And then there's a great scene actually, even though that was all weird. And he pulls off the transition from the good Superman to the bad Superman, the look and everything. There's a great scene where he flies into this junkyard, and he just wants to kind of like confront his bad side, and Clark Kent comes out of him, and there's like a Clark Kent versus Superman fight, and it was really cool, really like what's the word? I was gonna say innovative. It's probably not really, but you know, it was just like a cool concept, I guess, for a fight. And then he gets back to his old self, and then he's got to fight this supercomputer that the boss of the corporation has got Richard Pryor to build for him. Oh no, Richard Pryor wanted to build a supercomputer, but yeah, I mean, it's a bit silly with the whole supercomputer thing, but it's kind of cool as well. And you know, the whole ending of the film, some nice ideas and just some cool stuff. But I think the thing you got to remember is it is Superman. It is going to be silly, and at least it's not as bad as, you know, the original Batman film. Not that it was terrible, but you know, it's not too campy. But it was a lot more campy than the first two Superman films. But I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed Richard Pryor in it. Christopher Reeve was amazing as always. I think he just makes the film work, even if some of the subject material isn't the best. But yeah, I really enjoyed this one. I think I'd give it a 7 out of 10. I really enjoyed it, but it's not on the same level as the first two films. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you with the next episode.